Good evening, everybody. Today we're going to look at some trail camera photos. Trail cameras or trap cameras or whatever you want to call them. I've often been fascinated by them. I think they're so cool. I always use them. I've been using them for years, even if I'm just staying one night at kind of a remote place or anywhere near the woods. I just love setting them up to see what I can find. It's always been cool to me because it's like your little spy. It's your way of observing something. It's kind of like fishing when you throw your line in a lake and you're not sure what you're going to catch. It's kind of that same thing. And they also have practical purposes, for us Bigfooters. Sasquatch is notoriously impossible almost to capture on a trail camera, although people have done it and people claim it can be done. And for me, the trail cameras are much more than that. They give you a good view of the wildlife. If there are large bears around, if there are deer, other small critters, birds, also for security purposes too. Like if you have a property that's remote or maybe you're not there all the time, it's a good idea to put a few of these things around so you can see if people are tromping through or coming through. So I always thought it was pretty cool in that sense. So today we're going to look at a few trail camera pictures. If you're like me, when you first start off in this, especially if you're bored at night or something like that, or bored at work and you're goofing off and you're always searching the internet for the latest Bigfoot video or for the latest ghost video or pictures and stuff like that. So for me, I'm always on the quest looking for really good, scary or creepy or odd trail camera photos. Some don't even need to be paranormal, just, regular creatures acting odd. I think it's pretty cool. So let's jump into it tonight. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on a lot of these. To be honest, most of these are fakes or not necessarily fakes or hoaxes. They are misidentifications. And we'll talk about that. And you're free to disagree with me, as always, leave in the comments, or this has been proven a fake or that. I'm sure you guys will let me know. But I just wanted to put my 2 cents out there. And let's take a look. So the first one we have here is a fairly famous one. They even went to the site, I believe, on Finding Bigfoot and took a look at it. And the very large creature filmed on the right, reportedly a Sasquatch. And you can see the same tree there on the left with a human kind of showing you for scale. So a lot of people think this is a real Bigfoot. I'm inclined to believe it. I mean, you probably could do shoulder pads and some kind of a ghillie suit or something to bulk it up. But for me, I always felt that this had the strong possibility of being a Bigfoot. But I always thought this one was very cool. So this brings me to this photo. It's been floating around on the internet for a long time, and it almost looks like a ghostly hooded figure walking away from the camera. And I believe there's other ones of this kind of same photo with it shows multiple figures. And to be honest, what it strikes me as is a bird or a moth flying in an odd direction or right in front of the camera at high speed to where it's more like a blur. So I think it's a very, very real picture of a very real creature that just happens to look like something creepy. So this one to me obviously looks like some kind of a costume or a prop. Either the person who set up the trail camera is in on it, or, you're playing a prank on your buddy, because it looks like some kind of prehistoric raptor or something like that, like the feathered appearance raptor, not like you see like in the movie. Very odd looking, of course, but I think it's some kind of a hoax. This one here, you can see the deer looking at what appears to be a little girl. And I think this is someone either playing a joke on us, or maybe it is a real spirit. Whatever it is, that deer is looking right at it. And I would definitely call it creepy. As far as its realism, I can't obviously debunk it from kind of a blurry internet trail camera picture that's probably been gone over a few times. But yeah, it definitely looks like a little girl in kind of an old-timey dress. Now, this next one I thought was creepy, but a very obvious fake. There's a lot of fakes out there when you get to creepy trail cameras. I think a lot of people like them for clickbait. Looks like some kind of demon witch girl with a tail going through the woods, sneaking by. Certainly creepy. It almost looks like something out of a movie that someone claimed was a trail camera. I'm sure you guys would let me know in the comments if that's the case. Like I said, very scary, very demon-like, has kind of a female skinwalker vibe to it, but I think nonetheless a fake. And then here you have very obviously a Jurassic Park type raptor. Now, people do report seeing dinosaurs across the world and remote areas in jungles and deserts and stuff, and I don't necessarily doubt them, because if I believe in a giant 8-foot, 10 to 12 foot tall humanoid, why am I going to disbelieve them over a a dinosaur. But in that case, you can also tell that this one just looks superimposed. I think when people do see dinosaurs around the world, it might be some kind of interdimensional time loop, something or else, something we can't quite figure out, where they're seeing something happening through time or something came through. I think that's one possibility. But when you look at this photo here, I think it's very obviously a fake. So this one here appears to be an old lady. You can see from the timestamps on the left, there's about 4 minutes between these two pictures. Appears to be some kind of a lady in kind of a vintage dress standing in the shadows, and then hunched over, you can see the top of her head like she's praying or maybe throwing up or something's going on. It's very creepy photos. If I set this trail camera up in the woods near my house or something and these came on there, I would be super freaked out. If there's some kind of a history, that's the other thing about a lot of these photos. If there's some kind of a history of an old lady that haunts these woods or something like that, it would either be an elaborate hoax or it could be a ghost. I mean, people see these things, and you can see here's kind of a zoomed in shot. It's very clearly, it looks like a lady with her arms crossed, bent over, praying, or with her hands over her face, crying. I'd be very interested to hear if there's anything about the background of this area. Now, this isn't a paranormal one, but it's just very striking because you think of coyotes as maybe going after squirrels or rabbits, and you think of a full-grown buck deer as being a strong animal, and they are, but coyotes can be brutal, and this is nature. As much as you hate to see a animal, bleed out, suffer, and die, it's also the coyotes have pups, and they need to eat and live too. And sometimes nature is brutal. Now, this one's been floating around the internet for a long time, and I've had people swear to me that this is a real Bigfoot. I've had other people say that this is probably a guy in a suit. To me, I've always been on the fence about this one, pretty non-committal. The face almost looks like it could be more like a type 2 or maybe even like a gugly creature, the way that it looks like it has a little more of a snout with a very kind of a sheer cliff for a forehead there. So I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards it being real. This one here, you can see something weird on the side of the, it looks not quite like a cat's arm or a cat's leg. Maybe it's a rear leg, some kind of a creature crawling up on a tree there. To me, that always struck me as kind of creepy because you can't immediately distinguish what it is. Now, it might be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be some known creature. But on the other hand, I'm not entirely sure what that is, just going off of a paw. Now, this one's been floating around a long time. This kind of goes along with the rake and some of the skinwalker stuff. This is very obvious to me, like a computer generation, like superimposed over there, but still a frightful image nonetheless. You can kind of see like a shadow part of it, which I think was very good. And if I'm wrong and it's real, then no crap. See, people do report these things, and it is scary. Now, this one to me always freaked me out because it was like a little boy wandering in the woods. But what always struck me about this photo is he's wearing like modern basketball shorts, which just strikes me as some kid maybe sneaking out in the middle of the night or maybe sleepwalking or something, sneaking over to his friend's house and, the IR signature, you didn't realize he was getting a picture taken of him. Or maybe there is a haunting story of a little boy there. This one's another one that's been on the internet for a long time. To me, sometimes I look at this and I go, it's CGI or somebody doctored a photo, and other times I think it's just a bird at an odd angle, like a bird, like the right arm on the upper right looks a lot like a wing, like it's just a bird just twisting and kind of blurred image going after a deer. This one always freaked me out, this rake one that's been there. I used it in a rake video. This one always, I'm sure it's fake and someone's going to tell me it's fake, but I just in my gut feeling feel like you're looking at a real creature because it's its mouth open and the glowing eyes, and you can see some definition on it, and it's like skeleton-like body. This picture always creeps me out. I always get a little bit of goosebumps no matter how many times I see it. So almost kind of hope it's real just because it is so creepy. Now, this one here, you can see the deer, and there's some kind of like, to me, it almost looks like a mannequin or a prop in the background trying to look scary. This one I would say is either fake or, they put it out there and the deer is just, to the deer, it's just an object because it just looks so fake, someone trying to come up with something scary. I don't know if someone computer doctored it or not, but to me, it just looks more like a prop. This is another one that also really fascinated me that's been floating around a long time. Is a deer, you see the back of a deer's head staring up at lights like way up in the air. Now, I've seen orbs before in the woods, and a lot of people report orbs and these strange lights. This almost looks more like landing gear lights, like a helicopter, or almost looks more UFO-like a UFO is coming down, and they just happen to catch it right at the right time. Very creepy photo. Now, this one's supposed to be of a supposed dog man, and it said it was a trail camera photo, but I don't know if it was a trail camera photo. I remember coming across this photo years before. If you guys can correct me in a comment where this is from. But I was kind of into this photo for a while, and somebody said it was from a set of a movie or something. Then other people said it was real. Of course, people always say it's real, but definitely a creepy picture. If it was real, that would be a hell of a shot of a dog man right there. And you can see kind of a closer up there, good definition. If it's a suit, it's a one hell of a suit. And, just from everything you can see on there, very scary. So this one here definitely looks like a ghostly apparition headed towards the camera. But I think it might be more like a flying squirrel or something, or maybe like an owl at a weird angle. Because you got to remember, they use long exposures at night to pick up things. And if something's moving fast with a longer exposure on a camera, you're going to get a lot of blur and flash. And it generally does a lot of really odd things. So I think this might very well be an owl or something to that effect. This one I always thought was kind of strange. Like, it almost strikes me as like a mounted deer or something. Or maybe it's a real deer that is used to humans, and someone decided to appear to be mostly naked and crawl around in the bushes after deer to try to freak people out. She does kind of have a demon-y look in her eyes, but I guess that's always happens with the trail camera, and the IR light kind of washes out. But I think this is someone's project or hoax or something, and I don't know about that one. This one here always kind of was a real head scratcher to me, because it's like clearly a little girl, and you see a deer and a coyote, and it looks like she's getting pretty close to that coyote. I don't know if she hand feeds them or whatever, or if they raises them, or if it's just a dog that looks like a coyote. It looks a lot like a coyote to me, or if it's really some kind of demon girl or something else. But then again, this also strikes me as some kind of like art project, and the fact that she's looking right at you and the eyes are washed out with a coyote in the background, it definitely looks up like it's part of a movie or some kind of college project or something. But I gotta tell you, if I found these on my trail camera and I had no idea who that girl was, I'd be a little freaked out. This one here just looks like it's very scary. It almost looks like a guy turned into a zombie. To be honest, I think this is, if it's a real, honest-to-goodness, regular trail camera where someone put this out there and captured it, it strikes me as some guys who's mentally deranged or on some heavy drugs. So I think it's just a drugged-out guy. Anyway, thank you very much for exploring some of these trail camera pictures. I'm going to do these time to time as I come along and collect them. We'll talk about trail camera videos, because I just love trail cameras, and I think they're so cool. And I'm going to do some of my own projects, because I just like putting them out and seeing what you catch. Even if you catch humans or squirrels or coyotes or whatever, it's always cool to me. Thank you very much, and stay safe in the woods, folks.